to also kind of help show these techniques to you, I decided to create this series because I'm a massage therapist and my clients are in a lot of pain and have a lot of tension in their body, and I wanted to create a few videos to show them how to use these techniques to increase relaxation and help with tension in their bodies, specifically neck and shoulder tension. This is also good for headaches or just general unwinding. Good to have a self-care practice that you can do once a day or once a week. It's really good to do this before you go to sleep at night. It's really good to unwind and relax the nervous system. So let's begin. So find a comfortable seated position. It's good to just make sure your body feels comfortable, and start by taking a few deep breaths, slow breaths, in and out. So when I talk about breathing, a lot of times I like to say, try to breathe in to the count of 5 and out to the count of 12. It's a good routine to really slow the body and slow the mind and the nervous system. And the exhale is a really easy tool to relax and to help wind down and use some of these stretches. So I'm going to take one more breath in and out. So I'm going to start by working on the trapezius, very important shoulder and neck muscle, and I'm just going to turn so you can get a better view of this area. So I'm going to place my right hand on my left shoulder and just very gentle palmar pressure, but really you want to think about using your fingertips. And this is going to start our self-massage technique. And I just want you to take the fingertips and you're working in between the shoulder blades on this side. This is a place where people love to get massages. This is why I wanted to show you how you can work on this yourself. So I'm just taking my fingers and I can feel the muscles between my shoulder blade and the spine. And I'm at about a medium pressure. You want it to feel comfortable, like there's tissue moving under your fingertips. And I'm just going to work in there a little bit with my hand and my fingers. And you can work up towards your neck. And at the very top of your shoulder, this is the top of the trapezius. It rolls over like a scroll. And so that's a really good place to work. And you don't want your right arm to get too tired or your hand to get too tired. You want this to be about unwinding and feeling relaxed. So don't feel like you have to hold this position. You can stretch that hand out, that arm out at any point and just take a moment and let that settle. And then I want to go back to that place. And if you have the flexibility to use your thumbs in this area, you can just use a pincer palpation technique, which is like a pinching of this muscle. And you just want to go all the way out to the edge of this muscle and just roll the muscles between your fingers and thumb on this side. And this left arm should feel really relaxed. So every few moments, just kind of scan your body and make sure you're really relaxed in the neck and shoulders while you're working on this. So I'm going to take a break from that and just put this hand down and go to the other side. So I'm going to take my left hand and go to the right trapezius on the same area on the other side. And take a few slow breaths as you're working. So I'm using my fingertips to massage into that area. And I'll turn in a second so you can see my fingers on my back. And any kind of knots you might feel, that's where you want to give yourself pressure. And just let the muscles roll under your fingertips. You don't want it to be painful. You want this to be about creating more space in that area. So I'm going to turn this way so you can see my fingers and where my hand is placed on my shoulder. And the other hand can just relax in your lap or on your knee. You just want that whole side to feel really relaxed while you're working this area. So again, I like to go all the way in towards my shoulder blade and then back towards my spine. And you're probably going to feel a little popping or that muscle rolling under your fingertips, which just means you have some tension there that needs to be addressed. And then I'm going to do that pincer technique again. Again, if you're not flexible in this arm to do this, then, just use your fingers. You don't have to use your thumbs. But if you can grab that muscle with your fingers and thumbs, that's very effective as well. And I'm going to come back to center. And just gently place my hands on my knees. And you can even put your palms up. This is a really good reset for the nervous system. Keeps your hands really relaxed. And after I work that area, I like to do a couple easy stretches in the neck. So I'm just going to take one ear to the left shoulder. And then the other side. Just side to side, but very slow while you're breathing. And you just want the weight of your head almost pouring down towards your shoulder to create that stretch. And if you want a little deeper stretch, you can take one hand and just give your head a good stretch from that side, and that will increase range of motion and circulation in the side of the neck. And you just don't want to push yourself too far anytime you're stretching. You want to really listen to your body and slow your breath as much as possible. And I'm going to do the other side. I'm just going to put my hand on the top of my head, on the side, kind of near my ear, and just let my head kind of pour into that right shoulder. And you don't want too much twisting in the spine. You want it to feel like a good, effective stretch, and you might feel some movement or popping. That's okay as long as it isn't painful. And come back to center. And before I work a little deeper into the neck, I'm going to have you do one forward stretch down with the head. And just let you can, shake your head a little bit. Let your head weight drop and your chin drop towards your chest. And I'm keeping my spine pretty straight, so I'm not slouching into this. I'm keeping a straight spine, but really thinking about a forward stretch in my neck. And if you want a little more stretch there, you can take your hands like this and put them on the top of your head and just give yourself a little more forward stretch this way. Not too far, It's really good to be gentle and easy with the neck. And again, if any of this feels like too much stretching, then really just go back and take a breath. Don't push it too far. Okay, now I'm gonna address the sides of the neck, the right side of the neck first. And I'm working on muscles, they're called the scalenes, and they can be involved in any kind of neck tension as well as headaches. So I just want to give those a little self-massage as well. So I want you to take your left hand and you're gonna take it on the back of your neck and create this kind of almost like a cupping with your fingers and thumb, and you're holding your neck between your fingers and your thumb, and you're just pressing in towards the center, towards the spine. My fingers and thumb, I want them to just squeeze the neck. This is really good for neck tension. Any person working on a computer, these muscles are really tender. So you just want to squeeze in towards the spine and go all the way down towards the base of the neck. And each squeeze that you make, try to take a deep, slow breath there. And again, if your arm feels tired in this position, or your elbow feels like it's cramping, or your shoulder feels like it's cramping, just stop and put your arm down and take a breath. And I'm going to do the other side. So I'm going to take this right hand and I want my elbow up and my fingers on one side of the neck and my thumb on the other. And I just want to give myself a squeeze. And you can start at the base, you can start in the center and just squeeze in towards the center and the spine. Or you can go all the way up towards the occiput, which is that bony protuberance where we have lots of muscles. And I'm just squeezing the sides of my neck, which can be really tender. So go slow. In any spot where you're feeling extra tension, extra tight, you want to stop. It's also very common to feel some referral sensation when you're doing this. So for instance, my thumb is on the right side of my neck and I'm squeezing in towards my spine, and I can feel some sensation kind of up into my head and some sensation, mostly it's up into my head, but I can feel definitely a connection to the shoulder muscles the further I go down into the neck. And you might just feel kind of a radiating soreness around that area or into the jaw even. And I'm going to take this hand down. I'm going to turn back towards center and face you. Okay, so now I want to address a muscle that is really common in neck tension and headaches. It's called the sternocleidomastoid muscle, or SCM. That's a little easier. And what's unique and kind of easy about identifying this muscle is if you bend your neck, it's the one that kind of pops out a little bit, and that's the one that I want to address in this self-massage technique. And what I'm doing is I'm gently moving my head to be able to grab that muscle and just kind of pinch it and breathe. And you might feel a slight sensation near the ear or just in the neck. And you can just follow that muscle all the way down towards the thyroid and towards the connection point right here, the top of the sternum. And I'm just giving that a little pinch, and then I'll gently bring my head back to center. And then with the left hand, I'm going to gently work on the other side. So you may need to bend your neck or turn your head a little bit to grab that muscle, whatever feels comfortable for you to access that one that kind of pops out, the headache muscle called SCM. So you just want to grab that muscle very carefully and gently and just pinch it between your fingers and thumb. And you can kind of roll it between your fingers. All of this is just very gentle. It may make you feel like you need to swallow a couple times. That's normal. A lot of the front of the neck muscles are kind of left feeling really tight a lot because we are focused on our back and we're focused on any kind of neck tension, and we don't realize that a lot of it comes from the front of the neck. So this kind of massage is really good for addressing some tension that's carried in the anterior side of the neck. And I'm still just kind of pinching that all the way down to where it connects. And then I'm just gonna place my hands down, take a breath there, and I want to do a couple really easy rolls of the neck. Again, if you have any kind of limited range of motion, it's good to just be very careful when you're rolling your neck. You want it to be about relaxation and not about being super flexible. You just want to create more range of motion, but not push yourself. So I'm just gonna gently roll my neck all the way back. And then to the side. And then to the center. You can do that again if it feels good. And you might have places where you feel really stuck or tight and you can just stop there and just kind of hold that position as a stretch, or you can pause and maybe roll the other direction. Most effective neck stretch for me is just letting the weight of the head move down towards the floor, and I'm stretching the back of the neck again. And then I can use my hands to deepen that stretch. And you want your elbows and your shoulders really relaxed. Kind of a strong base, grounding into the floor with your legs and the base of your spine. And then I'm just going to gently roll my head back up. So next, I'm going to work into the chest and pecs a little bit with some self-massage and stretching. And this is also related to any kind of arm, shoulder, and carpal tunnel symptoms, which I'll also be making a video about addressing any tingling in the hands and carpal tunnel issues, pain in the arms. So this is just connecting what we're doing into the chest. So to address the pecs, I want you to start with your right hand, and we're going to work your right hand, and you're going to work on the left side of the body. So I want you to take your fingers up towards your shoulder, kind of just the connecting points of where the pec insertion begins, and just take your fingertips and use small circular pressure on these pec muscles. Now this is really helpful for any kind of neck and shoulder tension, as well as any kind of breathing issues related to tension. There's also these little muscles in between each rib that are called intercostal muscles. So any circles on top of the pecs and into the rib cage, in between the bones, are going to access these tiny intercostal muscles. So I'm just taking my fingers And I can feel the difference between a soft muscular structure and then the rib cage underneath. And I want to be on the soft structures. And I'm doing little circles all the way down towards the sternum or the middle of the chest, towards the heart. So also really good for accessing that heart chakra, which is definitely important when it comes to emotions and dealing with any kind of trauma or stress in the body. So sometimes you're going to feel that this tissue quality is kind of knotted and tender. So stay at a level that's comfortable for you. And then if your arm gets tired, just relax it. You can even put your hand behind your body and just do a little stretch there. And you don't want to do any work that's created more tension in the body. So if you ever find yourself in a stuck position, just take a little break. All right, I'm gonna work a little bit on the other side with my other hand, doing the circles with my fingertips into those pec muscles, into my rib cage. The intercostals get really tight from any kind of holding, any kind of computer work, from driving, forward shoulder posture, being on the phone. This area can just be so tight, so I'm doing some little gliding with my fingertips and some circles in between those bones all the way towards the sternum. And then just some gliding out towards the shoulders, really good. And this is typically a tender area to work, so if you feel like when you're working on this is just really painful, my advice would just be to use a little less pressure. And then you can stop and go back to center. Maybe, depending on your flexibility, put your hands behind you and just do a little stretch in that chest area. And you want to make sure anytime you do any sort of back bend, even the smallest back bend, that you come back very carefully and slowly. And take a breath. So now I'm going to do just a few seated twist stretches. This is really good to kind of move down to the body into the low back. So you can just keep your feet where they are if you want. And very carefully, you want to twist. And it's nice to use this hand on this leg and kind of push this way. And you want your spine to be long and your head not to be looking down, but to be looking a little bit up. You want your spine as long as possible, and then you can anchor your other hand and really just try to wring out your spine as much as possible. And gently come back to center. And another way to do this stretch is to put the foot on top of the knee or in front of the knee. And you want this other leg really relaxed, and you want your hip bones even on the floor. And then you can do that same stretch this way. Very common to feel some popping happen in the back. And you can anchor both hands on the floor, and you just want to make sure your neck is long and you're almost looking up towards the corner of the room, or even the back wall if you have that kind of flexibility. And this is just accessing side body on both sides. It's really good at wringing out any tension along the spine, as well as getting down into your root chakra and your base and just feeling the floor under you. It's very grounding. And taking a breath there and very gently coming out of that twist and finding a comfortable seat. All right, so we're coming to the end of this section of this self-care series. So I want you to really kind of ground back down, and I like to work on the feet a little bit anytime I do this self-massage on the neck and shoulders. I find it valuable to go to the feet and kind of take the energy down towards rooting into the earth. Also, any tension in the arches of the feet directly relates to tension in the spine and the layout of your back. So for this, I want your feet together if possible, and then you want your knees comfortable. So if they're up like this a little bit, that's fine. You can also work on one foot. If you don't have that kind of flexibility, you can, just find a comfortable place. So I'm using both hands, and I'm gonna start by just taking my thumbs near the heels, the base of the foot, and just giving myself some pressure. And the arches usually carry a lot of kind of crunchy tension that you may be unaware of. So you just want to kind of wring those feet out with your thumbs, and your fingers can be on the tops of your feet. So I'm just doing some small circles, or just some pressure in towards the floor. And you really just want to feel the base of your sits bones, which are the bones you sit on. You want to feel your hips relax. You want to feel your knees kind of fall out towards the floor as much as possible. You want to think about the fronts of your hip flexors being relaxed, and then your legs being completely relaxed in this position, and really just giving your feet some self-massage, some self-care to end this session. And you can just gently, to come out of that, you can just gently put your feet on the floor. You can put them in front of you, depending on your flexibility, and maybe just kind of let your body fall forward. You just want to feel your base connecting with the floor. Take a breath there.